Give me
Zauli's, and it's not even a red border.
and my life.
Zauli's a red border. I can already craft it.
Smite a marine.
Oh, whoa, bro, it dropped with the explosive payload incandescent roll. Alright, everybody, Tuesday's here, which means all of the resets are up, and that means we hop straight back into the King's Fall, trying to get them juicy red borders, as well as I'm on the hunt for that touch of malice, baby. We'll see how long it takes for us to get it. Anyways, in the meantime, we did get a bit of a juicer today here, and at least something that'll, you know, prevent me from having to worry about crafting this weapon for at least like a good amount of time. Definitely gonna go on the back burner, to say the least. And the gun that I am talking about is gonna be none other than the Zauli's Bane Handcannon, the new solar one introduced with King's Fall, or, you know, returning to D2 from D1. And obviously it has a much better perk combinations, obviously, especially with it being solar and having incandescent. That's instantly gonna draw eyes to it, especially for me. I do love me my incandescent weapons. I do want to have at least all of the weapons that have incandescent on them in my inventory ready to go, because this perk is just so damn good, right? Especially shooting at a group of, like, you know, lower tier mobs, you know, goblins, thrall, acolytes, dregs, vandals, shanks, especially because you can build around scorch and ignitions, which is very awesome. Especially you combine that with some juicy action from explosive payload for that extra damage that's never gonna leave you. Oh yeah. And if we go ahead and actually pull up the perk pool, perk table of this hand cannon, what it can actually roll with, you'll see in the third column there are some pretty, you know, nice little perks in there. If you are playing with a team, bro, ensemble for this hand cannon could be good, because let's just be real, this hand cannon's reload sucks. Pugilist is, you know, basically demolitionist for melee energy for melee builds. Could be pretty cool, but I'm gonna keep it a stack. Yeah, that explosive payload, yeah. And then in the fourth column, that's where you got a lot of good stuff, right? You got demolitionist, you got firefly, you got one for all, on obviously you have your incandescent. This is literally the energy version of the Fatebringer, right? Maybe you're not a big fan of incandescent, bro. You could just go with good old firefly and explosive payload. You know, the literal curator role for the Fatebringer, right? Just for solar instead. And we were also lucky enough to get it to roll with things like flared magwell, because anything to just counteract this thing's awful reload is really going to benefit it the most, at least in my opinion. Obviously, range on a hand cannon is never ever bad. I just feel like the reload in particular for this hand cannon is just so down in the dumps that any way to go ahead and, you know, boost that, get around that, is going to benefit you the most, especially because this is definitely more of a PvE hand cannon, at least in my opinion. I'm not the biggest PvP expert out there, but just by using this thing and looking at its perk pools, it just feels more like a PvE weapon anyways. Let me know if you guys have been using this hand cannon at all, what your favorite role is, if you have gotten it, if you have been lucky enough to go ahead and actually craft it already. Either way though, in my opinion, the incandescent explosive payload roll is definitely the juicer hand cannon that I think most people would be hunting for on this hand cannon.